Never thought that I'd be sitting here today. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to ARTV.
John, this is your inner monologue speaking. Something doesn't feel right.
Hold on just a minute. I'll be right back. What's up, everyone? Jonathan from AlbumReviewTV, back with another review for the new 3 Days Grace album, Life Starts Now. Much better. Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for a special 10th anniversary video right here from my channel that was originally known as AlbumReviewTV. There were 3 albums that inspired me early on to start my channel, one of those being Brand New's Daisy, also the album Brand New Eyes by Paramore, in addition to the first record that I ever reviewed on this channel, Life Starts Now by 3 Days Grace. Without those 3 records, I might never have gotten that push that I needed to actually start a YouTube channel, to put myself out there, even if it was done in horrible fashion, to review and talk about my favorite music, stuff that was coming out at the time that I couldn't just talk about to my friends. And somehow, along the way, I've built up an audience, and I'm incredibly proud of the things that I have achieved over the years. So in honor of my 10th anniversary, I'm redoing the first video that I ever did. That's right, I got it wrong. Life starts now. Please stick around to the end of the video because, of course, I want to express my gratitude to you and thank you right now off the bat, but I want to dive deeper into my feelings on the channel, everything that's happened over the past 10 years, and I'll address that at the end of this, along with the name that I'm giving to my viewer base. I allowed you guys to vote not only on Patreon, but on the community tab, and that gathered over 6,000 votes, and unanimously, you guys said either you don't mind, or else you like or love the name that I decided on. That's right, you guys, the ARTV viewers, are now known as the neighbors. So say hello to your fellow neighbor, get it started in the comments section down below. I feel that we've built up this community of music lovers that obviously can have fun, but also are rather kind. I see you guys having some nice discussions and actually talking about things. So that's why I decided on Neighbors. It's in homage to not only Mr. Rogers, but also the album Neighborhoods by Blink-182. Just days before filming this video and before the channel's anniversary, I came across my original laptop. And you can see this looks like the most 2012 thing that you'll ever see. In the heart of it all, it's a Blink-182 Neighborhood sticker. That's been a big thing for me. The neighborhood is just a community-driven thing to me, and that's what this has been. It's been a community effort, and I could not do that without you, so this name is for you. Welcome to the neighborhood. Again, if you want to see the end of the video and all the thank yous reflecting on 10 years, click the timestamp. It should be on screen or else in the description down below. And for now, I mean, I guess life really does start now. Am I right? You know, that joke is actually probably a little bit more accurate than anyone's gonna give it credit for, because life really did start now for me in that sense. I mean, I know it was years and years before I really built a following on this channel, years before I even started taking it seriously. That was probably around 2013, 2014, sometime in that time range. And over those years, I started looking back and reflecting on my roots. I came from this grainy webcam talking about 3 Days Grace, overpraising the record, not really knowing how to be critical at all or think critically for myself, and you can see that in the early footage.
The energy continues throughout the album, and 3 Days Grace, I guess you would say they still have it from their last albums.
3 Days Grace were a really important band to me during high school, and even still to this day, their first 3 records speak to me, I guess beyond even the idea of nostalgia. It's just that I hilariously missed the mark on that first review. At the time, the Canadian hard rock band were still fronted by Adam Gontier, and of course, I easily prefer that era over Matt Walst. I'm not trying to say anything or send any hate there, but obviously the group was started with Adam in mind. He was the iconic voice on their first 4 albums, and as a result of that, it can be very hard to follow up. Now at the time, they were trying to follow up their own magnum opus 1X, which I still feel is easily their best record. Adam had been really tormented during those years. He was kind of in therapy, going through a lot with his own personal demons, and here on Life Starts Now, it seems like he was trying to push past that, but there were also the ideas of love, romance, and the fallout of heartbreak lingering in the air as well, and it all settled in pretty nicely even though it's not as great as 1X. This was arguably a less mainstream record than 1X in some ways because it didn't necessarily have the Never Too Late or The Animal I Have Become on the album. Even some of the weirder ideas on the album, I suppose, did open it up to a broader market, and I like that they didn't just rinse and repeat, although that formula did start to stand out in a negative way on a few of the tracks. The standout cuts are top-notch mainstream rock with some real personality behind the words being sung thanks to Adam Gontier, but the small pocketful of change that I'll call the throwaway tracks are totally forgettable. One listen to the opening track, Bitter Taste, and you'll be 100% certain of what band you're listening to. The guitar tones are unmistakable, through and through, really, and the rhythm section is perfectly fine on this record. Sometimes it falls a little bit short of what you would want, but then it has some other tracks that really up the rhythm, the tempo. I think the track towards the end of this record, Going Down, has one of the best bass lines, but then there's others where you start to fall off a little bit. It falls into this rhythm, like The Good Life, for example. There's the yin, there's the yang, but in between, there's some hella awesome tracks. Life Starts Now is the fork in the road of life where anger and betrayal meet confusion and heartbreak. I feel that Adam was really trying to express being torn between this world of love and anger and hatred, also feeling rage as the imprisonment of life just kind of clamped down on him. Versatility isn't always a term that I'd use to describe the Canadian rock group, but at the same time, I also feel that it wouldn't really be inappropriate to use to describe Life Starts Now. 1X may have been their Mount Everest, but Life Starts Now is their still pretty damn challenging Mount Fuji. I initially kind of gave this a very high score, I think, because, oh, it rocks, it's so good, they still got it, they're still bringing it, and I suppose to defend myself just a bit, that was kind of true, but I'll also slap the shit out myself for saying nothing in the form of critical thinking before turning on that damn webcam. The songwriting hasn't always been the trump card that 3 Days Grace could play, and on this album, it feels a little bit more clunky and tedious than on some of their other efforts. I feel that 1X did branch out because there was truly something going on, and the demons kind of possessed the writing style that Adam took on. But with Life Starts Now, it can be a little bit more inconsistent. When you boil down some of these tracks, you just really see how surface level they are, and it's like they're trying to take on some deeper and darker themes, but they also refuse to go to the deep end while they're still wading over in the kiddie pool. Vocally, this album is still pretty impressive. It's not too cleanly produced, although there are a few moments where producer Don Gilmore could have asked for a little bit less processing, but again, it's a minor issue. It's minute in comparison to the overall record. In context, it doesn't necessarily trip up any feelings positively that I have towards the record. World So Cold is one of the best songs on this record. It features some really strong, impassioned vocals from Adam. It also kind of talks about the brevity of life and how we can feel distant from those around us. It might sound like, oh, I'm an edgy teenager and I relate to this so hard, but also I could see a track like this not only helping myself as it did back in the day, but still to this day it could find a new audience. And World So Cold has a great instrumental to go along with it, the guitars, and also just the kind of grungy aesthetic that I feel vocally from Adam. It's a powerhouse at its own right. From powerhouse to emotional wrecking ball, we move into Last to Know, which I still list as one of the best songs they've ever created because it is ambitious. It starts off so sad. The piano melodies here, you're just wallowing right there with him. And then as the keys shift in a little bit more, we get more instruments, and then we break through to the light and the realization like, oh, you were not everything. You don't have to be my entire world. I was letting you be that person in my life, but now I'm okay on my own. And it's so hopeful. I know that this could be such a critical track for anyone that's been through a breakup, but also needs a confidence boost. Bitter Taste, my old friend. The opening track just punches straight through a wall. I love the seething anger and rage that just pours out of this track. Still to this day, this is one of the most fun times that you're going to have listening to a 3 Days Grace song because it's so damn cathartic. And the guitar solo on this? Come on, that seals the deal right there. When we talk about moving on and how parts of the record dealt with, yes, infatuation, but also trying to get over someone, we had that median track Last to Know that dipped a toe in both of those waters. But the tracks Without You and Someone Who Cares kind of tiptoe around both of those truths. I'll start by talking about Someone Who Cares because to me, that one does feel like it's isolated in its own way, but the guitars on this one are extremely strong. I also like the key change vocally before shifting into the chorus. Without You also has a lot of strong suits as well. This one is extremely catchy, and it also feels like it lifts off a little bit more once that chorus rolls around. Even with all of the great memories that I have surrounding this record, there are the trapdoors, the pitfalls, where some of the cliches just really start to envelop the songs, and one of those is Bully, my least favorite song on Life Starts Now. This is a song that I feel, again, tries to go into the deep end. They have that at surface level. If you look at the lyrics, it's about a bully. It's somebody who is pushed too far. But they're over here talking about the deep end while they're standing foot deep in the kiddie pool. Going Down has a fantastic bass line that really dances on the opening of this track and even throughout the background. And I feel torn as I lament the decision of how to talk about this song because I don't dislike it. I don't necessarily really love it or consider it a favorite. It's just like a fence sitter for me. This is a song that has some great music to it, but also the chorus, You're Going Down, okay, sounds like any mainstream rock song ever. I know I initially praised the song The Good Life, which was released as one of the singles because at the time of release, it was a rocker. All I want is a little of the good life. Now, looking back a decade later, this is just so formulaic. It sounds like something that Theory of a Dead Man or somebody would have put out, and I promise that's not a compliment. It can be catchy, I suppose. It's a better time if I were drunk. To flip-flop the situation and talk about a different single, the lead single in fact, Break is still a breakthrough song for 3 Days Grace. I'm sorry for that horrible pun, but what I'm driving at here is this had the feedback. It had the awesome loop. It also starts off Someone Who Cares. I love that this album does feel connected, and they can be credited to not only the band, but also the producer. It made it feel like an album and not just a batch of singles. To close out the tracklist breakdown, I will briefly touch on two other songs that I do enjoy. No More is one of those that feels uplifting. It's talking about everything that gets thrown at us. The pre-chorus is probably my favorite of those on the entire record. That alongside the title track that does close things out, Life Starts Now, is something that feels like it's actually moving past all of the issues that Adam Gontier and the rest of the guys had faced on 1X. Now, we're properly taking everything in, we're taking life in stride, and Life Starts Now, another one of my top favorites. Oh, I'm actually so fucking relieved that this is the first album that I ever chose to review. It could have been anything, and I got a break here. I see what I did there. This is actually still worthy of your attention, and not just because, oh, it was my first album that I ever talked about on the channel, it was my first review. I'm just proud that this album actually holds up in the 3 Days Grace canon. And for me overall, even though my feelings have downgraded slightly, they're not in the upper 90s anymore, as I said in the past.
For the overall album, I would, out of 100%, I would definitely give this a 95. It's a very strong album.
For me now, at this point in 2009, instead of 17 years old, I'm 27, I've been through a lot, and I'm impressed to say that this album is still getting a 4 from me. Cheers to 10 years, my friends. Thank you so much. This is the end of the video where I wanted to talk to you guys about how grateful I am for you, for everything that we've built on this channel. I'm also proud of myself. I'm also proud of my girlfriend, Infinity on Hannah, who has helped me do so much stuff on this channel. All the graphics, all of the thumbnails, half of the editing. Everything would not get done if not for her. And also the drive and the motivation that I get from you guys, from her, from myself, the things that I have to pull out sometimes. I go through dark patches, I go through periods of lack of motivation, of depression and anxiety, where I doubt myself, where I doubt that anything that I'm making is any good. Thank you to those of you who do continuously tune in, those of you who I see in the comment section all the time. I truly cherish you. I know that sounds weird or maybe even cheesy or fake, but it's not. Thank you for coming back again and again, because 10 years ago, if you had told 17-year-old bright-eyed, naive me that I would be on this platform with a collective number of over 225,000 subscribers between 2 different channels hanging 2 YouTube plaques on the wall. I never would have believed you, but now, here I am, September 29th, 2019. And I don't even know what to say because I'm just so grateful that I get to do this full time. Thank you to those of you who have supported me. Anybody who has donated to the channel over the years at any point, thank you. You're a huge part of this story. To anybody who's just watched, shared out the videos, or just come back and enjoyed over and over again, thank you. It means the world to me. I don't get to say that often enough, but here I am on the 10th anniversary looking back on things, and I know that some people probably don't fuck with my style, my taste in music, or anything like that, but I always appreciate when I get those comments like, I don't have the same taste in music as you, but I also like to watch your videos to see what you're going to say or what your insight or what your opinion is. And that's really what it's all about. We don't have to agree. We don't have to see eye to eye on things. We're not meant to. You can agree with me sometimes or you can not agree with me, but at the end of the day, we all respect each other's opinions. At least I hope that's the case. And thank you for sticking around with me over these past 10 years. I would again love to know, of course, when you subscribe to the channel, when maybe the first video that you ever saw popped up in your feed. However you found me, I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I am just, I'm out of steam here. I am at a loss, so thank you.